In the world of Chinese entertainment, there are moments when fiction feels closer to reality than we expect. On screen, emotions are scripted. Off screen, however, they are often far more complicated. Bai Lu and Zhang Linghe were once seen as one of the most promising on-screen pairings of their generation. After the success of Story of Kunning Palace, their chemistry captured not only domestic audiences, but also international viewers who believed they were witnessing something genuine. Yet, as time passed, the story quietly changed. No official statements, no dramatic announcements, only silence, and that silence spoke volumes. Today, we are not here to speculate recklessly, nor to invade anyone's privacy. Instead, we look at why this pairing, once filled with promise, ultimately became a symbol of unrealized expectations. This is not just a story about two actors. It is a reflection of how fame, pressure, and reality often reshape what audiences hope to believe. To fully understand the emotional weight behind this story, we must revisit the moment when public perception was at its most optimistic. Story of Kunning Palace marked a significant turning point for both Bai Lu and Zhang Linghe. The drama achieved strong viewership and wide discussion, but more importantly, it introduced a pairing that felt unusually cohesive. On screen, their performances were defined by restraint rather than excess. The emotional tension unfolded slowly, relying on subtle expressions, controlled dialogue, and an undercurrent of vulnerability. This style resonated strongly with international audiences, who often respond to authenticity over spectacle. Their chemistry did not feel designed for promotion. It felt lived in. Beyond the drama itself, promotional activities reinforced this impression. Interviews, press events, and behind-the-scenes footage revealed a natural rapport, calm, respectful, and unforced. There were no exaggerated gestures, yet every interaction seemed to confirm mutual trust. At its peak, discussion surrounding the pairing expanded organically across platforms. Viewers were not simply invested in a fictional relationship. They were drawn to the possibility that sincerity could exist within a highly managed industry. It was this collective belief, carefully built over time, that would later make the silence feel so decisive. Just as public interest began to settle into quiet anticipation, an unexpected voice shifted the entire narrative. Liu Dachui, one of China's most well-known paparazzi figures, addressed the topic during a live broadcast. His words were brief, but their impact was immediate. According to him, the relationship between Bai Lu and Zhang Linghe had already reached its conclusion, with no realistic possibility of reconciliation. What made this statement particularly significant was not its tone, but its source. Liu Dachui has built his reputation on long-term observation rather than sensational speculation. In an industry where rumors circulate daily, his commentary is often viewed as a confirmation rather than a guess. Within hours, the topic surged across entertainment charts, drawing attention from audiences far beyond the original fanbase. Notably, neither actor responded. There were no denials, no clarifications, and no attempts to redirect the narrative. Instead, silence remained the only response, a silence that many interpreted as acknowledgement. This moment marked a turning point. What had once been sustained by hope was now confronted by reality. For international viewers, unfamiliar with the weight of such figures in Chinese media, this shift may have seemed subtle. For longtime observers, however, it was unmistakable. The story had reached an irreversible chapter. After the initial optimism faded, the narrative began to reveal itself through absence rather than presence. In an industry where even the smallest interaction can become headline news, the lack of connection between Bai Lu and Zhang Linghe was impossible to overlook. Despite overlapping work schedules in Hengdian, a place where chance encounters are common, there were no reported meetings, no shared appearances, and no visible acknowledgement of each other. This silence stood in sharp contrast to earlier periods, when proximity and familiarity were part of the public narrative. What changed was not merely circumstance, but intention. For industry watchers, such consistent distance often signals a deliberate choice to close a chapter rather than leave it open-ended. Equally telling was the absence of corrective messaging. When rumors circulate, agencies often intervene if reconciliation remains possible. In this case, no such effort appeared. The message was subtle yet clear. As time progressed, public attention shifted toward new projects and new rumored connections involving both actors. The story did not collapse dramatically, it dissolved. And in that gradual disappearance, audiences found their answer. Sometimes, endings in entertainment are not marked by statements or confrontations, but by a sustained quiet that leaves little room for interpretation. When a pairing appears convincing in every visible aspect, its ending often invites deeper reflection. In the case of Bai Lu and Zhang Linghe, the answer may lie less in personal incompatibility and more in the structural realities of the entertainment industry. First, career trajectory. Both actors entered a phase of accelerated growth following Story of Kunning Palace. For performers at this stage, decisions are rarely made in isolation. Project selection, public image, and long-term positioning are carefully aligned, leaving limited space for narratives that cannot be fully controlled. Second, the role of management. Talent agencies operate within competitive markets where perception matters as much as performance. Public relationships, regardless of sincerity, can introduce variables that complicate casting opportunities or international expansion. Discretion, therefore, becomes a strategic choice rather than an emotional one. Third, the psychological impact of visibility. Constant attention transforms private experiences into public discourse. Even stable relationships can struggle when every interaction is interpreted, archived, and debated. Ultimately, what ended may not have been a lack of feeling, but the sustainability of that feeling under pressure. Some connections thrive in intimacy, yet falter when exposed to relentless scrutiny. In such cases, separation becomes less a failure and more a form of self-preservation. As this chapter comes to a quiet close, what remains is clarity rather than regret. Bai Lu and Zhang Linghe's story was never meant to be measured by its continuation, but by its impact. On screen, they created a connection that felt honest, restrained, and emotionally grounded, and that achievement stands on its own. For global audiences, this moment offers a broader reflection on how modern entertainment operates. The industry thrives on visibility, yet the individuals within it often survive through boundaries. Not every compelling narrative is designed to extend beyond its original context, and not every silence signals loss. Perhaps the most respectful way to remember this pairing is not through speculation, but through appreciation. Appreciation for a performance that resonated, for a moment that felt authentic, and for the understanding that some stories are complete precisely because they end. In a space defined by constant reinvention, knowing when to let go may be the most meaningful conclusion of all.